face.
All right, well, that's going to be a statement game, statement win coming out from MXS, 13-7 on Fluffy Aimer's map pick to be kicking off our series. And I mean, the conversation going into this was MXS, they're feeling like their old selves. Do we think they're back in form?
Yeah.
This performance kind of says yes.
It definitely was, and especially towards the end, it got so exciting. And I think that the agent select difference really made a difference. They had 3 different agents in the last time that we saw them playing on Lotus. It was only Mata that we saw on Raze and Otoshima on Cypher the last time. So this was definitely a good change. They looked so much prepared. They were definitely in form, and it was very exciting to watch. I felt like the denied happened on the bonuses. They stayed true to that and denied that. But Otoshima, for me, I really liked his setups on the defense side as Cypher. He had those one-way cages that are annoying to go into the sites with. He had those trips and positionings and was actually capitalizing off of his util. And then Mata towards the end just absolutely popped off.
Listen, it may not be Monday, but it's still Mata's day, okay? Y'all remember Mata Monday? Well, it's Tuesday, but it's still Mata. It's the Mata takeover. Guy went 29 kills. What, 20% of those kills were literally first bloods. I mean, he was just having a plot armor match. And simply speaking, it was just a straight up takeover by him.
It really, really was. And we're going to do a lot more talking about Mata too. So I'll take a half a second to talk about others on the team. I think when we're looking at Fluffy Aimers, that Bones like saved a couple of rounds in by himself. But like besides that, Fluffy Aimers, when you're looking at them up against MXS here, I think that MXS had kind of just all the confidence in the world, and it was something that Fluffy Aimers kind of missed out on a bit.
They did. I'm a little disappointed because that was their map pick, but I highlighted before the game Bones that you just mentioned. Bones definitely played a little bit better in this game versus the last BO3 that these two teams faced off of. But if we're comparing Bones and Mata, it's just uncomparable at the moment. Mata was just truly feeling himself, getting the ground, using his util, and they just weren't really capitalizing off of their util, Fluffy Aimers. I felt like they had all of it in the right areas at the right times, but nobody was really moving forward or being the sacrificial lamb, I like to say, to get the ground needed to capitalize off of that util.
And I mean, if we're talking about the races, well, we'll let the Mata takeover just happen here, because honestly, we got to talk a little bit more and pull up a couple of rounds. Mostly, like, you look at this and it's just like big pop-off moments, but I think Mata throughout stage 2 has been such a strong player. And going into today, it's this moment right there, Roy, that it was like, all right, now there is absolutely nobody stopping him right now. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't stop him. Like, he's always played super well. Look at that stage 2 on the right there. Comparing it to what we saw from that map one was incredible.
I mean, that's what, almost a 50% increase from his average, which is just absolutely wild. But I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, those clips that we saw were just the moments of realization where we were like, okay, this actually is a Mata takeover, because he was having a pretty good game all around. I mean, he got 2 showstoppers on the second half in the first 6 rounds. That is just so mind-blowing to me. And yeah, absolutely right. Mata just said, you know what, I'm kind of taking over this match. And it seemed like his performance not only was like picking his team up, but I mean, the rest of the players were starting to have this like confidence and sort of like surge of energy.
Yeah, it's always nice when you have a player like Mata that is really accelerating, getting their kills, like you mentioned, Roy, because we all know when we're playing, that just kind of boosts the momentum and the morale of the entire team.
For
if
sure.
You have a teammate that's just popping off like that. So I feel like it was just fearless play from Mata, especially on the round 11-7 when he had the showstopper. He was just so fearless. He went into the site, popped his ult, then once he popped it off, he was dancing around like a ballerina, being a difficult target to hit and getting a 2K, almost a 3K for that entry.
I mean, you're talking about Mata being able to uplift the team and just kind of the morale lift. But when I'm looking now at Fluffy Aimers, they're kind of left picking up the pieces from that last map. That was their map pick in the series. And now they're going over to Abyss, the brand new map in the pool, MXS map pick. And Mata, who is absolutely terrifying. I do not want to go up against Mata on let alone a bad day, let alone what we just got to see here. This is insane. So I never want to say, Roy, that's something to cook from the get-go.
Yeah.
Fluffy Aimers, they might be prepared, but it's definitely looking a little bleak.
Yeah, I mean, this is not boding well going into the second map for sure, like especially when the player's having this sort of pop-off game. But at the same token, like, I feel like it's sort of easy to be like, okay, you know what, he was having a pop-off game. What are the chances he has a second one? Drink a little bit of copium in regards to like going into the second map, having a kind of a mental reset, if you will. But I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right though. Like, this map is completely uncharted territory. Like, we genuinely don't know what is about to happen. Neither of these teams know what the enemy team is running. There's no way to really prep for this. It's pretty much all just about how are we playing this map? How are we approaching? And does that rock, paper, scissors well into the way Fluffy Aimers are playing this map?
Yeah, and yesterday when we got to see Abyss, it was 2 very different ideas coming out from the teams heading into the map. And considering it is then the uncharted territory, I'm curious then what Fluffy Aimers wants to be bringing out on the back of that Lotus. Whether there's something a little bit more comfortable to just kind of go for that frag, if they kind of got that planned. But I'm still just kind of terrified of the prospect of what's on the other end there. And for MXS, they had this composition change over in Lotus. They're kind of cooking right now. We're seeing some good stuff here, Em. So I think then with the agent select that, I don't know. This will be an interesting one.
Yeah, because like Roy was saying, this is just unknown territory. We don't know what either teams are going to pick for their agent pool. Are they going to go something similar with what G2 Esports played with yesterday, which is a double controller? Are they going to be super annoying and just have a lot of sentinels? Who knows what they're going to do? But I'm excited either way because this is something new and exciting to watch.
I mean, we won't have to wait much longer. We have our Zippo agent select.
Yes.
First chance to see what these teams got. I'm ready to be amazed. I'm ready to be wowed. I'm ready for the graphic load, and there we go. Okay. What do we make of this? First impressions. All right, let's dive into that. Whoa, what's that about?
Okay, double controller, no sentinel on the fluffy aimer side. I do love the double initiators that they've picked though. I'm a big fan of Sova on this map. I feel he pairs really well into the Cypher meta that is currently developing on this map. I love the breach, which allows him to take over the sites pretty quickly, as well as the global defense. But on the other side, it seems like Moistek Shopify is leaning into the same kind of idea where they're looking to dive on sites. And this is sort of like, it's kind of giving me post-plant vibes right now. It's like maybe Moist is looking to kind of take advantage of the fact that they could easily overrun sites and kind of get the little bro to plant the spike for them and maybe go into like a post-plant spam setup.
It's fun to see the different ideas that these two teams have here for Abyss, but down one in the series. I'm curious if Fluffy Aimers have enough in the tank, how well this is workshopped, and how well this is going to go up against this MXS squad. MXS, they're looking good today. They're feeling good. Can they take it home right now? Let's head on over to Lemon Silly to find out.
Oh, this is going to be silly, all right. Abyss with no knowledge, no meta. But hey, I'm sat and entertained whatever happens.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be entertained about this one as well, because I feel like we're going to have two different clashes in terms of these compositions. Because if you're looking on the side of MXS, just seeing a wingman in there, it's been used a lot towards the MEA for VCTs. You're just trying to get your wingman in for a plant, into the right spots where you could actually spray into the default of the B site or the A site. And that corridor that you have to spray is a lot more easier to spray for. So think about like a Pearl Pulse plant. Think about the Sunset plant into the staircase. So there's going to be potentially a lot of that coming out of MXS, especially when you also have Pulse plant utilities with the Sova, with the Mosh. So I'm expecting for MXS to be in and out on these hits. While for Fluffy Aimers, they're not playing any Sentinels, but they are playing double controller, which is going to be very good to play vision deniability and chaos within the site. So they have great opportunities in that way to deny wingman plant if they play inside of their smokes.
It's a normal default for Moist Shopify at the moment, but Saudi Esports felt the pain of not running a Cypher or Sentinels yesterday, just kind of playing Harbor, as I kind of said on the analyst desk, as like a Giga Chad Cypher that's just off the wall, but no Harbors here. You can't just walk into the site protected. It's going to be a big battle of the controllers, and we talked about the impact that Vic and Mame had, even on Lotus, to deny a lot of the options, or at least make them more difficult.
Yeah, you could definitely see from the beginning for Fluffy Aimers is because they don't have that Sentinel player, how they're going to do and try to prevent any type of fast hits coming through is the cycling of the orb and the smokes from the Omen and the Viper towards the A main, as you saw before. So this now puts MXS into a pivot towards B, where the fuel is going to take a long time for it to come up.
Okay, it's a 1-1 trade. Gecko Flash around the corner. Brock and friends step in past the Viper's wall. We'll have Wingman plant. So they look towards the top of the site. Jonah is in. Isn't going to be waiting for Pancakes and Mummy to get around the corner. There is a paranoia, but Jonah is living long enough. He's already started to swing. Knows two players are around the corner. That information is huge. Shock bolt from Pancakes, but Mummy swung at an awkward time, and Moist Shopify don't need space, apparently. They just fire better.
Once again, still very good for MXS to find that timing. When the orb comes down, you need to wait for the fuel to kind of like refresh or the cooldown to stop for you to be able to pull the wall up towards the end. It wasn't quick enough, and Bones and Neptune kind of got caught off guard, out in open positions. How Neptune died from a long range like that is difficult, and it makes it a lot more difficult actually for Bones to even get some picks because he's out in the open. He has no way of escaping. He's playing in front of the site. That just rendered an easy pulse plant for MXS towards the end. So now they could death ball towards his B site. Silva being one of the prominent agents on this map because of the open space, the open area, and how much value you could get off these recons. And already getting instant utility coming in. You see the utility coming through. Seems as though MXS, yes, we don't have data on how these teams play, but they definitely do look drilled on their executions.
Yeah, both entries smoked off by Vic after Mata dashed into the site, got first blood. It's Mata Monday, as the desk says, and I'm here for it. Here's the lineup. Mata gets a second. Fluffy Aimers get a trade, and they'll step into the site. Now, trying to use some recon info. Fluffy Aimers got nothing out of that. Moist Shopify peeked their heads out. And it's 1-1 trade, still 1v2 for Neptune. We'll have a Vandal, but no chance to shoot it.
That's unfortunate that Otoshima, at least for Fluffy Aimers, that Otoshima was on that late lurk to get that backstab in the end, because that was a Vandal on the ground, up for grabs, and an opportunity for Neptune to really fight against Flya in that post plant. But look at the entries that came across here from Mana. Yeah, not only that, he gets a 2 for a $2 Tuesday if we had to continue on to the matches for tomorrow. But at least the damage has been done, right? You saw that it was a full pistol round, no force buys coming through from Fluffy Aimers, and it got good value out of it. Look at the buy that you have from MXS now. They're going to try to play the range and outlaw. Mid control is the priority to start things off here on the attack side. And now you're potentially just working orbs, working picks, and then finally hoping to take down these rifles in the very beginning. That's already 140 damage.
That hurts. That's a sturdy hip that Jonah got. But with Shopify also with the first pistol and anti-eco round of the series, which obviously helped Fluffy Aimers keep the score so close. The lead only was by 2 from Moist Shopify throughout that until the flood happened, the Great Depression at the end of the map. But Fluffy Aimers want revenge, and we'll have to see how practiced they are on this. And right now, Fluffy Aimers just hope to respond to how Moist Shopify approach the map. Right now, Moist Shopify have killed all noise, giving up no information. Could just be a late B hit, depending on how this mod alert goes.
Yeah, if anything, though, Otoshima had the late lurk. Somehow he has a camera all the way down towards mid, just at the top mid. And then still spotted the Viper and the Raze leaning towards B.
left.
So they know it's soft side towards A, which is why MXS is currently rotating towards this area, selling a fake towards B, and there's that lurk once again from Otoshima. This is such a good play by MXS so far on working the map.
This is why you don't leave your mid open, because the flanks that it creates. 11 seconds left, the plant goes down at A. And how does Fluffy Aimers hope to react to Otoshima? He's still a menace. He's got 3. He's shooting bodies. Bro, there's still the rest of the game to play.
Oh my god.
I love it. Moist Shopify will be still barking at Fluffy Aimers. There's Brock hoping to nade into the site, drawing attention towards him while the rest of his team take an alternate angle to hold it down. Is Neptune. He still has to deal with the 1v2 at the left side, but with Pancakes making the job easier, Pancakes gets to defuse halfway, and Vic and Flya just have to be on prevention duty, and Neptune will try to escape.
And now it's MXS converting the bonus round too. It was such a low buy that just happened. Okay, first off, very funny what Otoshima did. Secondly, who the hell just styled on it? Was Pancakes that jumped across here towards the A side and got the pick there onto Brock. But thankfully, because he's playing the Mosh, because he's playing Gecko here, he was able to deny the defuse long enough for the last 2 players to come across on top of A-Heaven and to close this out right here in this moment. So overall, they have to figure things out here for Fluffy Aimers. They can't allow for MXS to get such good values on this mid lurk from Otoshima for the last 2 rounds. And I love it. This is how we're changing things around. We have now the Silva playing towards mid to try to play the recon, the owl drone, while the rest can add pressure and fight towards A main. Although they can get a surprise kill there with the fault line peak.
Bones is tagged. And Moist Shopify, even though they know at least 1 person is there, they don't know how many more. And mid is open. Fluffy Aimers adapting to not let Otoshima slip past them. Not again. As Moist Shopify are gonna get eyes on it.
A fine death.
And Flya has such an important role in this game, and I guess it'll be being dead for the moment. But great pick by Pancakes. Last Fluffy Aimers to really press the issue in mid. Cause Moist Shopify to be faced with more indecision, more hesitation. Big engagement here.
Big
Brock
line.
hit by Breach, fault line, and Bones picks up both. The Fluffy Aimers in a 5v2. This round is sealed.
Unless these rifles could do something here with 35 seconds left when this orb comes down, but it's definitely looking really good for Fluffy Aimers to steal the deal here. And you can see the last 2 players giving this up. But there's pings coming through. Looks like Fluffy Aimers potentially still want to go on a hunt, because this is an eco coming in for Fluffy Aimers to start. Oh, are they going to TP? Yeah, so they're going to grab this orb, go to the B site, TP onto the spike, and they're not grouped enough to... Okay, they finally have the bodies on there. They finally have the bodies. We should be good now.
They've created a no-no square around the spike. Very good.
Round over, finally. But if anything, though, Lemon Kiwi, the last 2 rounds, it was a lack of mid control coming in from the defensive side from Fluffy Emers, which allowed here Otoshima to get too much value. And then this round is MXS not actually inserting Otoshima in the very beginning for the mid control, which allowed Pancakes to push all the way down towards the bottom mid and get the backstab onto Flya, then allowed for the rest of the util to come through and for Bones to get these 2 kills right here. So for both of these teams, I feel that they need to add a little bit more of that mid control if they want to go for defaulting. If not, you got to go for a 5-side hit if you're going to give up middle. And I feel this is something that teams aren't really paying attention to yet, is to how you take mid control, how you could actually split into sites because of mid control. But it might be the case now.
Wow. Yeah, Boy Shopify didn't know how to react once they got information on Bones. They just... Now it's Thrash. That will make the plan for them. Boy Shopify... lay down the cement, the road to A site. The execute is as easy as that. Here comes Jonah and Pancakes. Pancakes coming through Catwalk. Jonah through the top. 1 away from Hunter's Fury. 1 Shock Bolt. 1 Snake Bite. At least they'll be within arm's reach of each other, but Moist Shopify are playing through a main. Smoked off for the moment, so Fluffy Emers don't really know where the retake could be coming from, but coming up behind is Vic. You can get an important sightline on Pancakes. You got flashed by the get-go. No, you cannot choke that, Vic. The dominoes were all lined up, but Jonah still in a 1v3. MXS are tagged. Jonah, 1 down, 2 to go, but not enough time, not enough help.
It was still a nice pivot, though, for Moist Shopify, adding the temple behind the Thrash to break that door. I thought it was going to be a paranoia hit from Vic to throw it from A main, but they leveraged the Thrash instead, so they got the paranoia for the hit inside the A side for the rest of the players. And I'm liking these approaches. Think about this map of kind of like Ascent or kind of like Sunset. When the map first started, if you're not taking too much mid control, you're not allowing yourselves to really get into good control into entries of sites. If it's B side Sunset, you're going into 1 entrance. If you're going A side, you're just going to a split, but still towards 1 entrance. So allowing a little bit more mid control gives you that extra lane and keeps right now the defenders on their toes, where they can't really anchor up or play more passively. You have to be more mobile within the map. And you're already seeing it. Look at them move more proactively around the map for Fluffy Emers right now. Main control, now breaches inside vents. There's a 4-player walk, though, from MXS right into the B site, that because of this vent control, there might be a good trap for Fluffy Emers to fight back.
Okay, well, Bones caught 1, but not the rest. That leaked through now the back of the site.
Dead.
Moist Shopify creeping up against Jonah. Deadly game of hide and seek, and Jonah, you're it. Wingman's on the plant, and here comes Bones with a showstopper available, waiting for his team to rally in position. Meanwhile, Neptune goes on a deep flank, maybe with Mummy, who has the op. Fluffy Emers are a bit split on their retake, and Moist Shopify are hiding in smokes, hiding out of sight. They want to drain the time down to as much as possible. And Fluffy Emers, they're on the hunt. Now the Gecko flashes out from Brock, and as soon as Moist Shopify emerge to see where Fluffy Emers are taking from, they get ripped to shreds. Fluffy Emers were waiting.
Biggest timing coming out there from Neptune, because you saw that Brock went up the rappel towards the back to watch that flank, and as he stayed very patient, Neptune was able to get that kill and then go for the fault line, and you saw the rest come in from the front B side, which really crunched all of MXS on the post plant just by danger and no value they could get out of the post plants. They didn't even have to use a Hunter's Fury on top of that, so that was actually very good for Fluffy Emers towards the end when they lost so much control of middle at the very beginning, which now I think this is what the 3rd time that we're talking about mid control that's been in favor of MXS, that they're going to have to start realizing that they want to potentially go on these defaults where they can pivot really quickly on mid, so you need to add bodies there. And now this time it's 2. Pancakes could be the contact, fault line could help, and then it's just going to stall things for now.
Ooh. Great recon from Pancakes, spotting 2 in mid, and the Hunter's Fury to get a first blood. They're all just corralled into this tiny alleyway, and Moist Shopify won't have Brock's flashes or a wingman to plant with.
Exactly.
That's tough.
That's the biggest thing. No wingman to plant. Now you're forcing players to go within the sites to try to go for a plant. And look at this comp too. When Mata already expended his dash, it's going to be so difficult to move in. So you have to start working as a group or trying to sell a fake. And the fake is going to be the duelist watching into main and Dedge.
Dedge. Power of an op. Power of a read. Boy, Shopify, it's a scuffle in mid. Results in a trade. Still even numbers on both sides, with Fluffy Aimers giving up A after smoking it off to try and self-support B. And there's that opening pick that Moist Shopify needed. The site is weakened, the spike is planted. And Fluffy Aimers have Mame and Bones left with full util and an op, though.
I think they might have to save this one as well, unless Bones is able to go for a pick right away. I mean, he's making a lot of noise to try to bait these guys out, but this is looking like a sealed deal. Definitely after that one. And you're just seeing right now how difficult it can get, how MXS is playing this map against Fluffy Aimers as well, because Fluffy Aimers are currently not playing a Sentinel. So to not have somebody like put a camera up or setting up trips so that you could actually heavily lean towards like an A-side hold or a mid-side hold on a 1-2-2 or something like that, it just makes it easy for MXS to work the map right now. So we talk about, yeah, let's try to adapt to things. Let's try to work towards middle, add more bodies there to fight. But what does that do? Vic's able to insert himself into B, into an open site. And then if they go into the other end where, yeah, even if Mata walked in and he didn't get opt and he doesn't spot anybody, he's the one that's able to get the insert up towards the A site where they could rotate across the maps back and forth here for MXS. So I think they're realizing this finally for Fluffy Aimers, that they can't play as passively. And even if they're going for, you know, some sort of like A-site crunch at the very beginning, but giving that up without forcing any flanks behind that play after is making it very difficult for them to hold the defensive side with this composition.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's nothing delaying Moist Shopify. They get the one or sometimes even two picks, and that spike is planted. And the post plant, they just play it within the smokes that they still have left, or the ones that regenerate, and then they peek out. And it's that window of opportunity as Fluffy Aimers, yes, the time gets shaved down quite a lot as they're hunting Moist Shopify on that post plant, but it's worked out for Fluffy Aimers once or twice. But Moist Shopify are the ones that picked this map. They came in with the game plan, and there's nothing slowing them down.
Yeah. And definitely Fluffy Aimers comes in with a game plan as well, because if not, they wouldn't have let that float. They wouldn't come out with this weird composition that we've never seen before. Not a lot of teams come out with a raise intercomps as well. We've seen it before in the past, but you have to be on point with their satchels. But I think they do find a lot more value with paint shells that they could use on the post plan, especially when they're going to play the attack side with no Sentinel. I think it's going to be rather explosive for that side as well, with your Jonah being the lurk. But we'll have to wait until we get into the second half to see how Fluffy Aimers are going to play. Right now, they need to salvage these rounds, and it starts with an op on mid and a fight towards B and a denial by Odoshima.
Yeah, nice lurk kill, and Fluffy Aimers will be steady at B, thinking there could be a push coming from Moist Shopify at that end. And I think Odoshima has made that call too. And I think the Jet has been so much more useful from the Moist Shopify side. The dashes, being able to work around corners, and especially around the Abyss, has been a nice option for Mata. And I think Bones goes to the raise out of sheer comfortability. Like, it's one of his best agents compared to Jet. Makes sense for Fluffy Aimers, and they just ran Jonah on Viper, so... Right? Or no, he was on Cypher, but he does run a lot of Viper, so... Jonah's Cypher is dearly missed.
From Neptune's position, he's committed into this Rolling Thunder. There you go. He's going to use it right now, trying to push them back. And it actually works out for this pick onto Mata. So high risk, high reward, but a 4 versus 4. There's that lurk on middle. No more meddling. Mame was ready.
But there's more in store for Mame. He left after the one and done. But creeping up is Brock with full util. Gets the backstab on Mame, denies the up, goes in for more. 12 seconds left for Moist Shopify to still plan. They don't have the spike in their hands. They just have to find Pancakes now that Neptune has been removed. Couple more seconds, and Pancakes is not in position to prevent it. But he has 2 shock bolts and a recon. And the element of surprise, and he does surprise Vic, gets vision on Brock, recon to see how far he went, and the wall bang! Oh, that's nasty!
If it was not for Pancakes right now, we would have potentially a 7-8-0 scoreline for MXS. He's currently on the top of the chart for Fluffy Aimers in the frag department, but still being so good in the util to understand where he was at on this 1 versus 2. Hearing the footsteps of Brock falling back towards main, then catching Vic off guard, and knowing he had a recon to be able to win that 1v1. And again, here, this position, a huge high, a huge one-and-done position that you had there from the Rolling Thunder just to deny and try to slow the clock down so everybody could rotate around for this to happen. But you can't let this happen in these continuous clutch moments or high-risk, high-reward plays for Fluffy Aimers to try to win rounds, because your economy is going to stay fairly low here moving into the rounds. This buy right here might get fully reset if MXS is able to convert once again.
Now Pit to seal off A. One site left that's open, and Thrash is kicking the door down. Well, if there was a door, but Moist Shopify get the site for free. There's no one there. Pancakes was at the top, I think the high ground, and he got smoked off. So again, no delay from Fluffy Aimers to slow down Moist Shopify from planting. First blood's going in favor of Fluffy Aimers, but Moist Shopify have converted a number of 4v5s. Here is Pancakes' Owl Drone to help figure out where Moist Shopify are on the post plant. Thrash has a victim. There's the flash from Brock, but the trades come in. It's a 2v2. And it's all up to Vic now on the post plant. And they don't know where he is. Does he want to challenge this? At what moment does he strike? Catches Mame mid-throw on the util.
He's sticking
Flying
it.
out smokes. Wait, he's holding on to it. Vic doesn't know. Fluffy Aimers just robbed him of the round.
Pancakes once again hit by the paranoia and just decided to stick it. That was insane coming in here from Fluffy Aimers. Again, everything was good from a game plan for MXS. What happened there when Mata gets the pick, or sorry, when one player died there on watching that flank from behind? That was Bones, actually, that got that pick. What did they do for MXS? They flipped the map. They had their Thrash. They worked out towards Ivy and got value, got the pick onto Mame, or at least got one detainment onto Jonah, rather, and got the pick, and we're in great positions here to play the post plant onto the attack. And it came down to Pancakes towards the end to just stick a spike at 14-6 right now. And when we were praising before, when Mata had like, what, 15 kills, 16 kills or something like that, or 20 kills, that was after 15 rounds, Lemon Kiwi. Now we've only played 9 for Pancakes, and he's already up at 14, and he's the only reason why this game's been close so far.
That was a 5-2 lead that Moist Shopify had, and the Fluffy Aimers retakes are getting better and better. It's also taking Pancakes to have almost a 1.5 KDA and clutching a 1v2 in round 8 to now another clutch in round 9. Like, Pancakes is putting in the work. And I don't think Moist Shopify need to be too nervous. You'll hear them in the interviews that, no, like you said before, no one is challenging them in scrims. They are beyond confident, and they put a lot of work into this map for the very reason of surprising teams and really taking a risk.
The risk here of playing Abyss is looking pretty good so far for MXS, with the exception as what we just mentioned, these key plays that came out from one sole player of Fluffy Aimers. If not, this definitely could have been a one-sided attack story for MXS again, because they are working the map like so easily. I was gonna say like gods, but it's not really godly how they're playing. It's just like they have so much map controlling opportunity on their end. Look at this TP. It's gonna be a paranoia potentially even towards heaven to allow here the team to just split across after.
Yeah, and a mixed buy from Moist Shopify. It doesn't matter. It results in a first blood. The site is being already planted, and Moist Shopify already have an idea where Fluffy Aimers are coming from. It's on the window high ground, and the paranoia was already thrown out, and Vic steps up from the back to finish the job, and he gets one, and he's dueling against Neptune. Great patience, great aim. He's got a third one on the menu with Pancakes, and he just can't slip through the shadows this time. But Moist Shopify can now just play from A main, because Vic just killed so much time. The Fluffy Aimers, it's do or die. And with that flash from Brock, it's even more stall with the nade too. Moist Shopify just can't choke this. And Otoshima stays alive.
Right, they definitely won't. At that point, with how Vic has been playing inside the vents, He gets 2 kills, and when he gets picked off finally from the rotate by Jonah, he already had information that both players will be rotating from the top of A heaven. And you're seeing his pings coming out from Fluffy Aimers. So like, okay, well, if we're gonna give them mid control, how are they splitting towards the side? Or if we're gonna try to fight against mid control, how can we actually take these guys down and stop them? And that TP from Vic is so safe because nobody's breaking the vent doors. This is the first time you're seeing the Omen TP in that area. So on the defensive side, you're not thinking about breaking the doors in the first place and trying to stop the TP from happening. So a great little cooking coming out here from Mac and the rest of MXS all together on how they're preparing this map.
Hunter's Fury from Pancakes. Another one from the other side, and now Moist Shopify stomping their way into B. This time the Viper's Wall from Jonah was hoping to delay them along with the smokes from Mame, but Moist Shopify will still creep in, and Otoshima now gets Fluffy Aimers' attention over at mid. And there's been a number of times Moist Shopify have taken advantage of that to get on the flank, so Fluffy Aimers, now that they've cleared that, they have to re-clear into the site, and they can't waste any time. Moist Shopify have their entries covered as Mata dashes away after a pick. And Flya coming through the backside too. The longer this takes for Fluffy Aimers, more likely this round goes to Moist Shopify, who can just steady themselves, play off of Mata's info, just through the sliver of a smoke too. Welcome to Mata Monday, and the spike diffuser will be taken out. They will not be able to stick it this time.
And that's what I mean when you're placing the Gecko plant right in those corners. It's so easy for you to spray into that because it's very similar planting within the staircase of Sunset. You don't have to worry too much about a full radius. It's pretty much only a quarter of a radius at this point because of the amount of boxes that's also sticking out on the other end. So if you want to play the post plans outside of Long B, super easy. But that was all based off a pivot coming out from MXS on the call from where Fly's position was. After this Hunter's Fury came out, he heard 2 sets of footsteps. He's like, guys, there's 3 on A. Free B site. Just take it. We'll play the post plan against a pistol. Pancakes already died. Makes it impossible for you to actually get a defuse right after.
The Thrash to get into B. Meanwhile, Fluffy Aimers are executing through mid. Taking advantage of this, watching that flank is Otoshima, which could open a neural depth opportunity, but the 1v2 was even too much for him to handle. And Moist Shopify established on the post plant. Knives out. Murder ahead for Mata. Playing this still patiently, waits for the swing, and Pancakes gets information, still decides to re-swing. This time with help, but this time he's dead.
And this time we'll finally see what Fluffy Aimers will be cooking here in this second half with no Sentinels. So they want to add more value into site hits, into utility to leverage Bones' entries on top of that. But they are playing against not necessarily the most default comp here for MXS, but if you're approaching, you're talking to a lot of the people that are cooking around these maps, around new maps, they'll often say here that Omen, Sova, and Jet are kind of like your mainstays, and you work around that. There's been other teams, though, for example, like G2 and the VCTs, that's leveraged a Yoru instead to create that space with an Astra to get the global smokes instead of an Omen and still get great value out of that, especially when G2 pulled out a win. But this is still a very strong comp from MXS right now on the defensive side, which will allow for you to anchor a lot here with the Cypher and the open smokes within the B site that he's currently holding here for Vic. And for the rest, though, for MXS, they're looking to push out towards A main, up against Pancakes here on the other end.
This feels like a must-win for Fluffy Aimers, just looking at
100%.
an 8-4 and how much momentum Moist Shopify have.
Right there.
How do you stop this hemorrhage? Because once Moist Shopify get going, it feels impossible to stop them, and you saw just how much Mata popped off last map and handled that, well, I guess technically a 2v2, but it was all eyes on Mata in that moment once the Blade Storm came out. This has been a very slow kind of stalemate default for Fluffy Aimers so far.
And you see the wall being used here from Fluffy Aimers on the attack for Jonah. Oh, okay. And even a shot's coming out from Jonah. That's actually going to pull rotates out and soften up A. Fluffy Aimers now will play a 4 versus 2 within the A side take, even a 4 versus 1 because it's only Mata with the shares here.
Fluffy Aimers smokes at the back, sealing in Moist Shopify, hoping to seal in their fate, and Mata was abandoned. Brock was leaving the site, hoping for reinforcements, and Fluffy Aimers take full advantage of this disjointness. and they've already got the plant. And Otoshima is left to pick up the pieces. And this is an important round, like we said, for Fluffy Aimers to catch up in the score, because this was starting to get really out of hand for Moist Shopify.
And at least they'll get it. And again, it's nothing really eye-opening that came out of like, wow, what a nice play here from Fluffy Aimers. Just a nice, simple lurk coming out from the B side, understanding where the simple positions could be on the defensive side when people are still learning around the map. The jump up by Ivy is quite a prominent and used spot here on the defensive side, and he was just ready for that when he was just clearing angles. But you look on the other side, though, the paint shell's thrown all the way back towards security, also taking a radius towards the back of the site. This could have aftershocks towards the back of the site as well, so they have great ways to really smother and overtake A on how they play. And now, okay, I'm gonna hold my thought.
Holding thought. Jonah holds the L, and it's a first blood for Moist Shopify, extending past B. And not immediately leaving it either. Not wanting to be over eager as Fluffy Aimers abandon ship and decide to go to the one at A site. We'll see if Moist Shopify can race their way there to beat them.
Yeah. If anything, though, the rest of the guns, I mean, the whole pressure has stopped after Fluffy Aimer just got spotted out by, MXS was spotted out by using the wall that was set up here on the Viper lurk on this B side. And that's what I was going to mention, a little bit more interesting to use that here on Fluffy Aimer's side, where you're kind of blocking your vision, trying to work back on your B site. And I think the wall has to be a little bit more different here to get a better value on how you want to block vision and go for the splits towards that B site. Because that walk down from MXS was a nice little cook on the fly there from Otoshima to surprise Jonah.
All right. Breach util, just to kind of cause stress in Moist Shopify, knowing how close they are, though. Here is the scrap. Everyone is flashed. A great job by Brock. And how do you retaliate? It's Bubba in a 1v3 left against Vic, who is the better omen. And it's Fluffy Aimers out on top.
How did everybody die, though? This is going to be so good for Fluffy Aimers towards the end to just win a simple post plan. We talked about how good these sprays could be on that default boxes over towards the A side. 4 players playing towards main. They still have great utility on the other end to stall. And somehow all of MXS were all grouped up on the right side of the A bridge. Yet they still get all kills against Fluffy Aimers. 4 out of the 5 on all pistols. Fluffy Aimers, yeah, in this buy, I mean, they're going to be forced to go all small shields with Vandals, but man, this is not a bonus run anymore. This is a gun round that could potentially just instant reset Fluffy Aimers in the next round.
Poison's gone.
And a small comeback. Jonah will have to come back into the next round, though. Moist Shopify, this is not the biggest advantage, but it's something to reset Fluffy Aimers with. They have A site smoked off, Cypher util set up at B. Fluffy Aimers will be slowed down a lot, having to now deal with Sentinel. And a very talented controller at that.
Yeah, on top of that, taking down Jonah is also taking down the lurk wall or the site execute wall that you have on this B side. So this is going to be hard mode once again here for Fluffy Aimers to enter towards this B side. All spotted by the
Camera
cat.
taken out. They found my wire.
They know they've been spotted too, taking care of the trips. Fluffy Aimers have someone in main too. They'll have their flank being watched. Moist Shopify are even gonna try mid. They are gonna drone in. It could be up to Mata to make a play along with the Vic Paranoia. Flashes from Brock. The execute being called. Mata has a plan, and a bullet in the head was not part of that. He just walks into his death, didn't have a dash. Fluffy Aimers, they know. They have the read. Pancake's hiding in the smoke, gets hit by a Paranoia. Vic still has a victim.
One enemy remaining.
And it's just Neptune. They just tried to hide behind this box, and Moist Shopify just took over all the real estate.
That's where it gets difficult. The first blood that was scored by Moist and Shopify, they were the ones that are going to be aggressive and proactive on mid control. And when you're looking on the attack side, usually you see smokes being thrown on the abyss drop on the middle by the rope, so you cover one lane and you can work middle. This time Fluffy Aimers throws a smoke towards the staircase on the top of middle on the attack side, so they can walk down bookshelf, walk down the mid take, the bottom part, and still get a pick from a Silver Dart into main, also taking down Jonah on top of that. So again, another issue where you're forced to having a body and not a camera or a turret to watch how aggressive the push could be. And yes, maybe you get information on the first one, but it's going to be a 2-for-1 fight in that area, which therefore could still give an advantage for the MXS side. So this is definitely difficult in this composition that Fluffy Aimer is doing to try to get the best value of their attack.
And Mata's already been brought down to half health, so he can't be as aggressive or dash in, but that's okay. They could just play reactively. And Brock has the thrash out, catching Fluffy Aimers as they walk in, but they will defend, they will conquer, and Moist Shopify will not give up that site.
Wonder if there's some paranoia on top of the Dizzy being thrown from both Vic and Brock after Brock out of the thrash, because that was an intensive, very good hold by MXS towards the end. I'd like to see here what happens if we have it on the Blacklight replay. If we don't, all good. And then we move on to the next round where FAIM are realizing that, you know, their backs against the wall, time's ticking at this point. Look, 2 of them were actually hit by the paranoia on top. There you go. You see the Dizzy being thrown on top of that. So it was actually being cycled across because everybody was so focused on the thrash. But again, still good util coming out from MXS. We have a glass cannon or glass vandal for Neptune. Backs against the wall. They're looking for a play.
Oh, they may not expect that flash, but the timing is a bit off. Fluffy Aimers just get to stand and deliver against Moist Shopify, who, well, ran it down with a plan, but that's been scrapped. And a gifted round for Fluffy Aimers, it seems.
They'll take that because that recon once again got so much value, or I think it was an owl drone. Anything here that was used on the defensive side from Flya that allowed to get 2 pings to come out. Unfortunately, I didn't see that there was actually 2 more players coming out here from Fluffy Aimers, and that was a little bit better here for FAIM. They're realizing once again that they're losing mid-control throughout this whole game, so they wanted to potentially just fake that they have players, maybe less players out there, and then use the power of numbers to go for the trades in the end. So a great opportunity because this was a heavy investment that came within this round to try to capitalize on this. Although they're moving towards the B site where you can still have trap kills coming through from Odoshima's position.
Enemy remaining.
Oh, what a great
30
read.
seconds left.
Catching Vic. I really thought he was stealthy too, because if Moist Shopify can make this expensive at all, just take away 1 gun. No, that'll help Fluffy Aimers try to get back into this after a Blacklight flawless.
You have what, 20 HP remaining when you went for a glass vandal for Neptune. That's a big round that will instill confidence back in the camp of Fluffy Aimers. And Moist Shopify are like, okay, well, looks like they finally figured this out here on mid control that we're trying to take. Let's call a timeout over here and see what else we could try to do here on our defensive side, because, you know, they had what, the 5-player push down towards B main on the pistol round, and really nothing else rather in terms of aggression since then. So will they want to try to work the extremities more? And that's potentially what could be talked around here, because they're finding a lot of value out of these, Jen, in terms of aggressive pushes on defense.
Well, Neptune doesn't seem to see the value. He's like yawning. Neptune, wake up! Time to clutch your kick. Down 3 rounds. You guys ain't entertaining Neptune enough, clearly. But this is a big match to go to the semifinals or to make a trip to the lower bracket. Moist Shopify had a severe lead in that first half, and Fluffy Aimers making the comeback. And look, they have 3 ults to do so.
Definitely. A lot is on the line here. Although this is double elimination bracket going into the playoffs, you are still sending 2 teams to the Ascension playoffs to play against a top 2 of LATAM and a top 2 of Brazil. And definitely you want to have the easier run going through the upper brackets so that you have less matches to play, more time to practice. So MXS, again, probably the reason why they're coming out with Abyss, not only to show that they have a deep map pool, but because they want to close out as soon as they can and make it into the grand stage as fast as they could.
Mame is wasting no time. Fluffy Aimers wasting a lot of time, it feels. They are just slowing things down to a halt, waiting for the smoke to clear out of Vic, and then there'll be an execute. Rolling Thunder ready for Neptune. No more yawning. It's time to wake up, Vic, because He's just by himself, a little board on his side, holding down A, relying on the trips, has Otoshima there, one away from neural theft. Boy, Shopify have tools of their own. Here's Fluffy Aimers getting into the site. Vic creeps around a cage. The showstopper right in the middle, and the Rolling Thunder from Neptune. Boy, Shopify got hit by a truck, and they still have 2 left. It's Otoshima and Brock. And not much left in the tank in terms of util. They did just hear them jump around this ramp, and Mame hears them coming, and Moist Shopify are going to decide to save.
Yeah, this is... Okay, I'm happy now. This is not only MXS that went for an A-side split through vents. This time, Fluffy Aimers did the same thing with a different composition, which you saw the fault line going through to take A Heaven control. I was just a little bit scared because they really didn't try to leverage their ults until they went into contact towards the A site when they had the Rolling Thunder and the Showstopper available. But still, they got value out of it. They got kills out of that too, with unfortunately not the best rotates that came out from MXS on top of that. Fly was a little bit ahead of his dart before he got picked off. But you still saw at the beginning of this round, though, Lemon Kiwi, that they did try to go for different types of aggression, trying to work towards those extremities to work down B to start. And that was easily denied by Mame at the very beginning.
Look how chaotic it gets on Abyss. And imagine if we had double controller with the... Yeah, I don't think we have.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
no,
with double controller on Fluffy... No.
Oh, yeah,
on Fluffy Aimers, but not Moist.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, Cypher's cages act like a third controller, though.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. Fluffy Aimers, they got the first blood last time. Are really trying to sell face against Moist Shopify, who have a 1-2-2 split defensively.
Yeah, and even if you're talking about Fluffy Aimers with a double controller too, they're using this Viper wall again for this conditioning wall on this B side. So therefore, inside the site, you're really trying to leverage Mame's smokes on the execution. So yes, there's definitely a lot of visibility into these site hits, into the retakes, that allows now for the fragging to take place, which is definitely going in the hands of MXS so far, unless they're losing these first bloods consistently. And this time, Mata is trying to make a play. It's a little bit of a high-low. They'll get the information that Pancakes now has the Hunter's Fury on the A side, and they want to fight this.
Ooh, Mata got a few knives in before escaping into the shadows. But seeing that Fluffy Aimers aren't really committed, Moist Shopify have their mid open, so they have to re-clear that. Fluffy Aimers haven't pushed that issue yet. And as, just like last round, they're waiting for the Vic smoke to go down before acting.
They're waiting for theirs to go up so they could go through. So, again, it's going to be an A-side split.
All right, Paranoia through. Fluffy Aimers just have to push past the smoke. Hunter's Fury behind them, the wind in their sails, but 11 seconds left. Fluffy Aimers, they have site control. The plant will ensue. And Moist Shopify's retake is being blocked off by smokes right now, as Mame cuts out through mid. So good map control for Fluffy Aimers. But the retake approaches, and it is flying with 2 shock bolts too. And Brock at his side, and the shock bolts in response to pressure out Moist Shopify. They're doing their best, but it's Moist Shopify that are looking real threatening in this 3v3. Fluffy Aimers are just playing on site, bunkering down, but they're also exposed without cover. Moist Shopify down from their window. 4 for Brock to get the defuse, to get Moist Shopify up to 11.
Gun here.
And Fluffy Aimers were a little bit too scared on how they wanted to press the matter against MXS at that point in the post plan. You saw that Bones, it was in a great position, held on to his paint shells to try to get some sort of a fault line paint shell commitment. While you saw it in the POV on the side of Neptune going left and right. Do I want to fault line into heaven? Do I want to fault line into security to try to help all my teammates? Instead of being more proactive with the fault line nade here to try to regain some space. And they were too slow in the reaction, and MXS was just able to fight back the way that they did with how Brock, again, you're playing against one of the best initiators currently in the league for challengers, outside of Flya, outside of Verno. Brock is definitely in that conversation where you're given too much respect here for MXS on such a nice hit to start things off here for Fluffy Aimers. And you're playing the win pretty much at this point instead of playing for those high risks, something that you're known for. Fluffy Aimers literally is a team that's built around good aim. Training regiments around this roster too, around the organization in itself. You want to see these guys fight.
Fluffy Eaters are fighting. I'm seeing Mame in the comms trying to rally the troops, and he's talked about how him, the coach, and everyone have such a great connection at keeping each other locked in and focused.
This goes
They
here.
have the confidence. They feel like they can shoot better than any other team, and sometimes on maps like Abyss, it just comes up to that. Who has the better aim, the better reaction when all the smokes are up, and who's swinging? Sometimes it could just be luck too, as the players would say in interviews. Hope we get lucky. Well, see if luck can bring Shopify to a series win, 2 rounds away from doing so. And Fluffy Aimers back to their very slow default.
Yeah, and right now, they threw a lot of orbs here on the top of the library of Catwalk to go for these splits. You see this early recon dart that was thrown by Pancakes. It didn't get shot out. It went for the second for the 2 pings, and it was really nobody really pushing forward. So they're just running back default to see if MXS will try to play aggressively, and they're not. So it's time for them to press forward, but realizing that there's no mid control, they might go back again into this split towards the A site.
Poison's gone.
Oh, that's tough. Lurker gone. But hey, you know the op is not where you're going. But Vic got just a lot of information, seeing how many people crossed, and gets hit by Breach Detail, but he will get to a safe location. Fluffy Aimers are completely blocked off by smoke. They don't know what awaits them on the other side. Now the Hunter's Fury hopes to cut them down. Flya did ping 1, didn't get the finishing blow on Neptune. Now Thrash is next, plan B, but knowing they're close is still good information. Thrash got value if you squint hard enough, but with the paranoia, Moist Shopify are slowed to a halt yet again, and this is precious time that Fluffy Aimers are getting. And the kills matter too. Mata dashing it by himself. He knew he had to do something. You can't let Fluffy Aimers get away with this. 2v2. Vic is quick flick there. And the third. He's nasty.
My God, I thought it was around there for Fluffy Aimers. Again, I was still praise them no matter what on how they played that round. Again, so many ults for MXS. They knew a fish was going to come back. 3 players played on top of the A site, and you have 1 player playing solo on the top of A heaven, which is Bones, and it got so much value out of everything for the first initial picks. But then right after that, the last 2 players just came in and just toppled everybody down. Vic this time is the one that popped off and killed everybody. But these positions were so good for Fluffy Aimers to fight back the way that they did. I just didn't like that Mummy ran back towards the default, as you just saw on the replay, because it looks like he just wanted to fall back while he was reloading, which gave that window of opportunity there for MXS to fight back. So this is now map and series point for MXS. Fluffy Aimers, they have some silver lining. They were able to fight back, and they were aggressive. I'll give them that, and I want to see more of that.
Me too. Mata's op is at B. Fluffy Aimers, they've been kind of halted by Vic Smokes at A. Not wanting to wait for that this time, especially with a lurk from Pancakes. Already got pings, has an Aldrone and Recon, so they can go in with information. But this is a different trip setup from Otoshima. 1 at the front door, 1 on the left side of the site. The left one is normal, the one at the front, a bit different. Usually like those trips deeper into the site. Will this catch Fluffy Aimers at all? The orb has been procced. So Moist Shopify know what's awaiting them. And playing on the site has not been the vibe. Fluffy Aimers will get the plant going from the shadows. Activated there from Vic to get involved, and the pit. Fluffy Aimers in a shell. And who will be trying to get through this? Well, Mata gets a lucky pick just right through the smoke with the op. With Shopify using the drone, and just knowing that Bones is in that nook, Moist Shopify at least have a target to go for, and it's a paranoia from Vic. Maybe force him out of that position. Brock to go and execute. Moist Shopify can't get eyes on anyone. It's just hide and go seek, and Moist Shopify are hosing Fluffy Aimers down. The fire is out, and Moist Shopify to the semifinal.
Ended up being just lucky kills through smokes when you had maybe 1 body decoy, 2 body decoys from Shopify to walk inside that pit, which allowed Fly to get these sprays across for these picks, and eventually a clean retake for MXS. But yes, a semi-final showing for MXS into the next round, and still a great showing overall of how good and clean they look. against a questionable, again, composition that came out of Fluffy Aimers and got fully taken advantage of.
Hey, but Fluffy Aimers did not make that easy. They went out kicking and screaming. Last time they met, it went to a deciding map, but Moist Shopify made it a quicker run this time. They go to the semifinals. Your Fluffy Aimers, don't worry, they'll still be fluffy, just in the lower bracket. But we still have a dusk, so let's go check in with Sierra and friends.
Thanks so much, you two. Yeah, this is double A limbs, so Fluffy Aimers, they do live to see another day, but for MXS, they don't have to worry about that as for right now. They're moving along in this upper bracket, and am looking at them on the day. Even if a couple of the rounds, Fluffy Aimers were definitely putting up a fight for it, it's going to be such a strong performance in the end to clean out the series.
Oh yeah, we were worried that there was going to be a comeback there coming in from Fluffy Aimers. I'm not too sure about the no sentinel pick from them. I think that's what made it a little bit difficult on their defense side. It was 4-8 half, but once they swapped over to the attacking side, it didn't really matter. But we saw such good gameplay, I think, from Vic and Brock. That their combo together, they just really showed up when their team needed them to just close it out towards the end of that half.
Yeah, and to kind of circle back about the no senti thing, it did really feel like Moist Shopify had a really solid game plan on their attack half. Like they were playing really slow, drawn out rounds. They were throwing multiple fakes. They're like pushing and pulling kind of Fluffy Aimers like all around the map, creating gaps, allowing these lurkers not really funneling themselves to any real option, like always giving themselves an option B to every single thing they wanted to do. And I think it was just like that really specific game plan that they had on that first half that really made things incredibly awkward for Fluffy Aimers.
Yeah, and I want to highlight Pancakes because we were talking about it when we were watching, right? Pancakes was clutching left and right and really keeping them into the game towards the beginning. I don't know about you guys, but his Sova util was on par, and that was really helping him clutch those crucial situations.
Yeah, looking back at some of the earlier rounds, this could have been even more of an MXS just dominant victory if it wasn't for a couple of heroics coming out from the team, which I think then really just showcases even more of what MXS were really bringing to the table here for this. Like, Fluffy Aimers, I don't think that Ibis game plan is necessarily a wash. I think once we got to see the side swap, we did get to see a little bit more promising things coming out from them. But an opportunity to kind of workshop this new map just a little bit more. But again, I'm happy for MXS to see this team that was undefeated here in Split 1 to kind of go back to form. And we got to see kind of all the best from Mata coming out here in Map 1. Map 2, Vic had a fantastic step up. And you have to call out Brock as well for some insane kills there, Roy, in the later rounds.
No, yeah, that's a really good shout out, to be honest. Brock had so many important moments where he kind of popped off and allowed Moist Shopify to just kind of comfortably hit that finish line. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think there was a really good game plan by Fluffy Aimers, but at the end of the day, Moist Shopify, they had a really specific game plan. They were taking advantage of a lot of the site's design. They were playing post. They weren't really taking too many risks on the sites, on their attack half at least. So it did feel like Moist Shopify did have a pretty solid game plan. But to circle back on like something that we mentioned really early before these two maps, we were wondering if Moist Shopify was really back, right? Because they would always tweet out like, oh, we're back in form, and we weren't really sure if it was like copium or like genuine we're back. But at least now it feels like, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but at least to me, it feels like they are actually back. Like they have a really good game plan, they're executing it well, and it seems like things are kind of clicking.
Yeah, you were talking about the game plan, Roy, and on Fluffy Aimers' attacking side, the A site was working for them. They were doing A splits, they were doing A execs, but then they were just getting retook on from Brock and Vic with a 3K, a snappy, clean headshot 3K. That was 11-8 that helped them go to match point. I mean, they were just filling it on the retakes. Maybe a Sentinel was a deal breaker there for slowing them down on the retakes. I don't know, but either way, they were doing the right plans, like you said. They had the strategies there, but they were just getting retook on.
I mean, this performance today, I definitely think is promising for MXS as we now see them move on into the upper semis. We'll have an opportunity to talk to them too, but first, our post-series highlight. Don't be too long. We'll be back with Brock after this. strong victory coming out from MXS over Fluffy Aimers 2-0 to be moving on into the upper semis. And I have Brock here, Mr. Brocktagon himself, to chat a little bit more about that. Congrats on the win here. I know the team has been a little up and down this split, but after the TSM win, there was tweets of the team's feeling back to our old selves, like this is it. How do you think that performance was reflected today? Do you still think back to its old selves? Like, how do you feel about this win?
Yeah, it felt good. We still had some issues. We still made a lot of mistakes. I feel like we could have played a lot better today, but it felt good to win again. Yep.
I mean, looking back then at the mistakes, what do you think is kind of one of the things that you can talk to me about where looking back, you're not quite necessarily happiest, or kind of want to clean it up before we get into that next match of yours?
It's just basically just converting the good rounds that we should be winning. I feel like that's all you need to do in this game, and any small mistake will lose you a round. So we just gotta tighten up, and we should be good.
All right, definitely looking forward to that. I want to talk back to a little bit earlier in the series. We got to see Lotus, picked by Fluffy Aimers, be kicking off the series. We haven't necessarily seen MXS play on this map for a little bit. It was a little rough last time, but we got to see this new composition workshop. It worked out really well for y'all. So what was kind of the biggest ideas behind bringing this composition and hitting Lotus hard?
Changing the comp, we felt like the meta changed so quick, and people swapped off of Viper because of the nerfs. But I feel like it's still the best comp, so we just started playing it again. Yep. I
mean, definitely worked out here, so it was great stuff to see. Nice little turnaround. And I want to talk about bringing out Abyss onto this map pool, because brand new map, not really sure what teams want to be picking it up, kind of wanting to save it. So was it just something you guys wanted to debut? Think you could catch Fluffy Aimers off guard, or?
It was something we didn't think they would have much practice on, and we've been just practicing it a lot to just get really good at it early. And yeah, we just felt like we had the upper hand on that map.
Definitely did. You had some great pop-offs near the end there too, so that was really nice to see. Last but not least, I want to talk about MXS going forward here in the playoffs, because we're starting to see MXS here in a great form again, which is really exciting. But a couple of teams are kind of cranking that dial as well. We're getting to see M80 perform better. Dark Zero and Oxygen have been consistent. So how are you feeling kind of just about this run in general? Because only 2 can make it to Ascension.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams. We just got to tighten up when we play. We only need to win 2 more, so just hope for the best.
Only 2 more. Well, 1's under your belt, so best of luck going on forward, Brock. Thank you for chatting with me. Best of luck in your next match, all right?
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. All right. 1 more of our quarterfinal matches done. 1 more on the horizon. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back soon, so don't wander off too far.
They say in life, there are no guarantees. They say a lot of stuff like that. Slow it down. Play it safe. Hedge your bets. So what? You gonna listen to that? You gonna stop because they can't guarantee you'll pull this off? No guarantee you'll win? No guarantee everything's gonna be fine? In life, you make your own guarantees. Nobody else will light your way. Start your own fire and keep it burning. And we guarantee you'll have one hell of a lifetime.